News at 5:30.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. The University of Kentucky says they are expecting another record first-year class this fall. As Samantha Valentino shows us, that influx of new students is partially to blame for many students struggling to secure on-campus housing.
It's always a little bit of art and science, but our projection right now is we're going to have about 6,400, 6,500 first-year students. That's a great thing.
However, UK spokesperson Jay Blanton says the large incoming freshman class, combined with an increased number of returning students looking to live on campus this fall, is requiring the school to get creative in terms of utilizing space.
This year, we're trying a new program, which we're excited about. It's called Try It. And so we're taking some of our 2-bedroom suites and we're making them flexible, modifying them for 3 people.
This is a normal 2-bedroom suite. Each student has their own room. In a Try It room, bedroom 2 has 2 beds, bunked, 2 desks, and a dresser. The bunked beds will be offered at a discounted rate, but some parents are less than impressed.
They're not even giving you 2 dressers, so you don't have room.
You know, all fairness aside, inmates in a prison, they usually have 2 in a bunk bed. Not that I know, but it's like this. It's the same design, the same setup without a toilet in that room.
Dawn and David Norcia live in New Jersey. They say UK's dorms were a big selling point for their son, an incoming freshman. But now he doesn't have a room.
You know, we haven't got a time slot yet. You know, he's not interested in the try rooms.
UK says all standard 2-bedroom suites are full, leaving only 4 bedrooms and Try It rooms available. But they're working to accommodate students.
We'll work with parents. We'll work through it. Apologize for any inconveniences or anxiety it causes. But at the end of the day, we'll work through it. And those students who have been accepted to UK and who have applied and want to live on housing, we'll be able to accommodate them.
In Lexington, Samantha Valentino, WKYT.
We also asked the University of Kentucky if they take the number of campus dorms into consideration when deciding how many new students to admit. They explain that while they are aligned, there are separate processes because not all students want to live on campus, and no student is required to live on campus at UK, and that includes freshmen.
And we're once again out in front of WYMT here at 199 Black Gold Boulevard here in Hazard, just across from all the restaurants across the way here. The Kentucky Blood Center's Bloodmobile is still here out here. You got a little less than 1 hour to come on out and donate blood as we head through the rest of the, at least the rest of the hour. Weather should not deter you from heading on out here. It's a little warm, but the sun is out and the haze that we're seeing is a little deceptive, if you will. Folks maybe look outside and say, oh, it's hazy, it's humid. Not really the case. And as we look outside region-wide, here's the view from the Mountain Parkway. It's Slade, 83 the current temperature, plenty of sunshine, not too much smog there. But we take you out to parts of, well, we'll get there. We take you out to portions of Pikeville at this moment, and yes, we're still going to see that potential for quite a bit of that smoke out there. Here's the view from our Pikeville Medical Center camera, mid-70s out there now, and you can tell the smoke is thick. Upper 70s, middle and upper 70s across the Big Sandy. Kentucky River Valley counties back into the low 80s as we head into the Cumberland Valley. How about 85 in Monticello? There's still the high water mark this afternoon. Dew points coming up in some spots. We're going to need to see those dew points a little closer to the air temperature, though, if we're going to see those showers move in a little bit later on tonight. We're a clean sweep on pinpoint Doppler now, but you see those clouds starting to move in from the north as that front gets closer. So as we head through your forecast first, the next 12 hours or so, we're looking at 81, and the next hour or so falling into the 60s, at least through the next 6 hours, as we head through the overnight. Clouds on the increase and eventually showers by daybreak. I'll be breaking that down here in a few minutes. Steve?
Evan, thank you. The field of Republican candidates for president is about to get more crowded. Former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie has filed the paperwork for a run and is preparing to launch his bid this evening at a town hall in New Hampshire. 2 more candidates are expected to make their announcements tomorrow. CBS's Nicole D'Antonio has the latest from the White House.
As he enters the race for the GOP presidential nomination, Chris Christie is positioning himself as the Republican candidate willing to go after former President Donald Trump.
We can't be a party of vindictiveness and vendettas.
The former New Jersey governor and one-time Trump ally is focusing on New Hampshire voters as he makes a second run for the White House.
Maybe we do need new blood. Maybe we do need somebody like, Christie or DeSantis.
Christie's announcement comes a day before former Vice President Mike Pence kicks off his campaign in Iowa.
The answer, Iowa, is strong, conservative, Republican leadership.
North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum is also expected to join the GOP race Wednesday, adding to an already crowded field that also includes Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, former United Nations Ambassador Nikki Haley, and South Carolina Senator Tim Scott. The next challenge for the candidates will be meeting the requirements for the first Republican debate in August, including making a pledge to support the eventual nominee. Notably, Donald Trump, who's leading the GOP pack in the polls, hasn't said whether he would sign such a pledge. He has hinted he may skip the debate altogether. Nicole D'Antonio, CBS News, the White House.
The former president remains popular among GOP voters even as he faces multiple criminal investigations. Yesterday, Trump's lawyers met with top Justice Department officials as a special counsel weighs whether to bring criminal charges against the former president in connection with classified records found at his Florida home. A young gun control advocate is leading a multi-day sit-in at the U.S. Capitol. Samuel Schwartz and those joining him are demanding that Congress vote on a federal assault weapons ban. He says an AR-15 was used to kill his cousin in the 2018 Parkland, Florida school massacre. Schwartz called for the sit-in on Twitter last month. His tweet garnered thousands of retweets, tens of thousands of likes, and millions of views. Schwartz says his sit-in will continue rain or shine 23 hours a day for at least 1 week. Jackson, Mississippi is getting $115 million in federal funding to start improving its public water system. It comes after a catastrophic flood last summer that aggravated the city's long-standing infrastructure problems and left many in the area without water for days. Last year, President Biden included $600 million in his omnibus spending bill for the initiative to fix the city's water crisis. And in a statement today, the president announced an initial allotment of $115 million. President Biden says the funding for Jackson is part of his Investing in America agenda. The number of daily migrant encounters on the U.S. southern border has been low since Title 42 ended. The Department of Homeland Security says Border Patrol saw about 3,400 migrants a day since May 12th. That's much less than the 10,000 daily encounters before Title 42 lifted. The pandemic-era policy allowed U.S. officials to quickly turn migrants away at the border. Officials caution that migration flow can change and that they are ready to make adjustments where needed. An explosion at a dam is causing massive flooding in Russian-controlled territory in Ukraine. Both Russia and Ukraine say this is no accident. CBS's Natalie Brand has more.
Rushing floodwaters caused by an explosion at a hydroelectric power plant and dam in southern Ukraine threatened the already battered war zone.
We know there are casualties, including likely many deaths, though these are early reports and we cannot quantify them right now.
Police have begun to evacuate elderly people as thousands live in the water's path, including the key city of Kherson. The dam in Russian-controlled territory holds back a reservoir the size of the Great Salt Lake in Utah. It provides water for drinking and agriculture, as well as cooling reservoirs for the critical Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant.
Our current assessment is that there is no immediate risk to the safety of the plant.
Some international law experts say it could be a war crime. Ukraine's president puts all of the blame on Russia.
We're still trying to assess what happened here, but the Russians had illegally taken over that dam and the reservoir.
A Western official says a motive for the attack is still being determined, but that it could have been done to make it harder for Ukraine to cross the river during its counteroffensive, as well as to tie up resources dealing with the humanitarian crisis.
The destruction of Nova Kakhovka Dam brings the targeting of civilian infrastructure and civilians in Ukraine to unprecedented new level.
Ukraine is in the opening phases of its long-planned counteroffensive to retake land that Russia has seized and is currently occupying. Natalie Brandt, CBS News, Washington.
Experts are warning of a potential environmental disaster. Ukraine says 150 tons of oil has already spilled into the Dnipro River. Coming up on Mountain News.